Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from in the world. Welcome to Open Up, our live talk show here on Sunday morning, Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. My name's RJ Horner, and I'm the host of Open Up. I'm also the vice president of Voice of Men 360, and I am the host of my own programming as a facilitator at Live and Love Life. Let me share a brief introduction about Voice of Men 360, International Men's Day, and why these talks are so important to us here and Open Up. Voice of Men 360 is a not for profit organization founded in 2020 in Toronto, Canada. Many boys and men are seeking help and support in many areas of their lives. We understand the demands and support when it comes to boys and men in our society. Voice of Men 360 was born out of a tremendous need and stepping up to provide support and services to help guide our men and boys as they grow in their life challenges. We're part of International Men's Day, and they have been serving for over 21 years. And so far, 90 countries around the world have joined together doing various activities yearly. IMD follows six pillars, which is uh, overall well-being of boys and men, and we follow in those same six pillars. Why open up and why is open up so important? Because men and boys do not open our hearts. We're not willing to share our thoughts and our matters with anyone. When we keep our challenges to ourselves, at some point it's bound to explode and affect us emotionally and affect us unhealthily. That's why we want to create an open space and allow individuals to share their life journey through our platform. We want to create awareness about the life challenges, struggles, and overcoming ups and downs that our boys and men go through in their lives. There are no limitations with gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups with sharing their life journey. All walks of life are invited to participate. Our goal is to make a positive impact on someone's life through this program. Open Up is on Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. to 10:30 Eastern Time. Thank you for joining us today. Each week, we'll bring an individual and share their life experiences with you. Today, we have a special guest. He's a serial entrepreneur, um, always running his own businesses. He has become a passionate speaker and renowned authority in psychology and politics. He's also become an advocate for youth around the world, hosting his own TV shows. Um, please welcome Unisa Kamara to our show, Open Up Today. Thank you for joining us on Sunday morning and being willing to share your life journey.
Well, RJ, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we like to walk you through the life journey. So let's go back to boyhood, if we could, and just talk about that for a minute. What was it like for you? Where were you living? What was that experience like for you?
Boyhood, I was in America, Staten Island, New York. And I had, it was not an easy transition coming from Africa to America because, as kids, we tend to make fun of each other. Well,
Mhm.
at that point, we were not making fun of each other. I was being made fun of. So
Understood.
I had to make, I had to find a way to transition where I'm not being bullied and so forth. So it came to a point instead of me going to school, I used to walk around the neighborhood until one day when the teachers decided to call my mother. So you can imagine the rest. So it was not an easy transition, but overall, it was an experience that one can say they will never forget.
Sure. And so you were, again, boyhood, you're trying to fit in, right? You said you were bullied, but I mean,
Correct.
did you have a lot of friends growing up at that period of time? Was there close personal boyhood friends, you know?
Well, as time went on, because life is the thing about us is that we're all social beings. And regardless how difficult times get, you'll always find that one or two or three friends that you can say, okay, I can say this is a friend of mine. So as time went on, I did. And one of the individuals I can always say that was a best friend was my cousin Albert. He and I were always together because he was bigger than me. So he was like my protector. So where he went, I used to follow. So you can say that was my best friend growing up. But besides that, I'd always try to keep to myself to understand my environment a little bit better till I start getting to the age of 14 and 15. Then I can say I started, associating more.
So were these happy times for you? Were you able to, manage and still experience joy through all that?
Well, when it comes to family, family is quite crucial, very important. So when I'm with my family, yes, there was joy. But when it's time to go to school, you get the belly aches. You try to look for every excuse to say, "Mommy, I don't feel good."
Mm,
So they were not good times for me at that point. No,
mhm. And how long did that last for you, if you don't mind?
it lasted about what, 4 years or so.
Wow.
Because regardless what it is, you have to stay in the same school in
Yeah.
America for just about that amount of period of time. So yeah, but in within the fourth year, I started adjusting because you have people that would say they were your friends, but when you go outside and you being bullied, they just disassociate from you.
Right. Because they've
You
got to
know,
fit in too, right? In their environment, right? And you're the like, okay,
precisely.
were you the only person of color in your class? Were there other people of ethnicity?
Yes, there was, and those were the ones that was making fun of me, RJ.
As a little touch of irony, right? Yeah. But you know what?
Yeah,
I
you know.
bet you. And here's another thing: we try to fit in as individuals, right? As little kids, and that was probably their way of trying to fit in with the other kids, right? Is to single you out. It's a and it's an unfortunate side effect of growing up, and we all
That
experience
is
it, I
true.
think, right?
That's true.
So you got
That's true.
through that, and then so let's talk teenage years. What was that like for you? You know, maturity. The changes of life, that sort of thing.
Teenage years or RJ is like a whole different lifestyle because what I've learned growing up within that period of isolation, because I call it isolation, not having friends, just me, or whenever my cousin Al will come around, he and I will be together. So what I've gained, I utilized it properly. And my father always said to me, the best way to get to know people is to listen to them. And when you listen to someone, you have a better understanding of where they're coming from. When you're quick to speak, you get lost in within. So I've always learned to listen, and I utilize all that aspect into my advantage. So RJ, I can't complain. By the time I was in high school, I was driving a Porsche.
You had a nice life by that point, it sounds like.
Oh, did I?
Good for you, man. Look, that's what life is about, is achievement. So it sounds like
Precisely.
were you an entrepreneur at that point? Why did you drive a Porsche at that point, if I may ask?
Well, it was my brother had a Porsche, and this gentleman that was well known around the neighborhood, everybody feared him because of what he used to do. He was on top of, let me say, the mountain, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
And he had always looked at me as a little brother, because he used to see me around the neighborhood, and for some apparent reason, he took liking to me. So if I was not borrowing, not stealing my brother's car, but borrowing. I was using his car. So everybody was thinking, oh, okay, he is this kind of person. So with all that, on my wayside, I utilize it into making financial benefit.
Hmm.
So I had people working for me while I was in high school.
Hmm. Now, I've read a little bit about your life in Staten Island, and you talk about how it wasn't exactly a pleasant experience. You had a
No.
lot of things going on around you. Tell us a little bit more about that, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, growing up was one of, you know, as each and every one of us know, growing up, if you're just coming from a different country, it's hard to adapt. And sometimes as a youth, your other mates will every, they'll take every advantage to put you down. So I did not have that easy live streak. So it was quite difficult. So in actuality, to put it together, I had to find a way out. I see a lot of, as I kept growing up, I was seeing friends of mine getting shot, killed. I was seeing police killing friends that I was growing up with. I was seeing friends of mine going to jail. So it was not one of the prettiest sight for me. It was not anything I can say is something I can, reminisce on and put a smile on my face.
Mhm. Now, everybody has a past. So, I mean, were you involved or intertwined with a gang lifestyle at that time, or what was your experience?
The funny thing was, I never considered myself to be a leader. It was just a group of friends that we always were together, and people assumed we were a gang. So, me being who I am, they always assumed that I was the leader of the gang. But to us, it was just a bunch of young guys having fun. We're not out there robbing nobody. We're not out there killing or doing anything of, you know, that made no sense or to say illegal. We're
Hmm.
just having fun. Yeah, that was all.
Hmm. But did you develop a
But
reputation, you and your friends, I guess?
kind of, yeah. But above it all, I was the one who gained the most reputation out of it
Hmm.
because a lot of people were acknowledging me as, oh, he's the leader of this gang. But to me, even even the organizations that I'm affiliated with now, even my companies, you will come into my office and you see me mopping the floor. I don't ever consider myself to be better than anyone, nor do I consider anyone to be better than me. I think we're all equals, regardless how
Hmm.
you look at it. But somehow, as human beings, we're quite judgmental. We assume a lot.
Absolutely. And I think you've learned that through your life experience, right? You've had some
Absolutely.
lessons, you've had some growth, and then eventually it sounds like at a certain point you learned how to give back, to help others.
The funny thing was, I learned that at an early stage. Growing up in Africa, they would put the food and we had to eat with our older siblings. And the older siblings would eat and leave for the younger ones. So when I transitioned to America, even though I did not have it easy, but I kind of looked at the underdogs that were being bullied like me. I started protecting them. And which indeed confused a lot of people when I got into high school. I was with the tough guys after school, but in school, I was hanging with the ones they will call the nerd or the poor. Man, look at his shoes. He have holes. So at lunchtime, I would always sit with them. And the funniest thing was, we as human beings, we never give each other the chance. So I enjoyed their company. I enjoyed the jokes with them. So it came to a point where I started protecting them. I used to say, listen, these are my friends, nobody church them. While I was in the projects, the ice cream truck will come. All the kids would see me and they know, and oh, excuse me, they knew I was buying ice cream for all of them. So the kids love me. So and the grandparents, I would take my time. If they needed money for grocery, I would support them. So I was always making myself accessible to support because I know what it's like. I've been down that road.
That's Listen, you've grown a lot, and thank you for that. Thank you for sharing those sort of things. One of the things we like to talk about here, and you've talked about friends, you've talked about family, but your father son relationship, if you wouldn't mind, was that existent? Tell us a little more about that.
My father was a stockbroker. He worked for the biggest company in New York. And when he was working, he was always telling us about investing. But regardless how hard he worked, weekends was dedicated to us. My father would never be gone and we don't know where he is. And it's always a family man. So he made sure we had our movie nights, we eat together, we spend that quality time together. So there was always a form of unity. And if you do something wrong, he's not the type to just act irrational. He's the type to talk to you, understand the basis of your action.
Mm.
And then, if needs be, he will tell you, I will take away something that you like. And which indeed, if he took it away, you're not going to get it back for at least 2, 3 weeks. So he always knew what we liked. He was quite observant.
Sounds like you got a lot of your lessons from your father. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, because I mean, again, it even sounds like your father gave you the basis for your profession and for your career moving forward, instilling a lot of the family values in you.
RJ, the funniest thing was, I used to always look at my father and say, Dad, I can see me being rich. I can see me making a lot of money. And he's always say, your richness, it's in within your heart. When you have a pure heart, you will attract people that you never think that you'll be able to attract. But when you put arrogance in front of you and try to be rich, you will not, go further than you think you can go. But when you're pure and you show your sincerity and you learn to listen, believe you me, the world will be at your feet. So, a lot of things he said, as a child, we used to always think, oh, he don't know too much.
Right.
Yeah, but when you sit back and reflect on things, they'll make sense to you down the line.
I totally understand. There's so many words. My father's gone from me now too, but I mean, there's so many words and sentences that my dad said as a child that just hit me now, and I'm going, "Oh my God, that just so makes sense." Like he was telling me some wisdom back then. I just didn't have the knowledge to get it at the time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So it sounds like he served you though, because you are an entrepreneur at heart. You started your own businesses. Did those values help you in your business life?
Yeah, I'd always figure, Audrey, that I never wanted to work for no one. And when they killed my girl, I was confused, dismayed, whatever have you, and I isolated myself for a while. So I kind of figured that I needed to do something with my life. Regardless how much money I'd made in the street, nothing lasts if you don't reinvest. If you don't invest, what good is it? So I kind of thought about it. I was just like, what is it that I'm good at? We have to utilize the supply and demand aspect. Back then, when people used to come home from work, teenagers our age, or even if they were not working, what do they want to do on the weekend? Party. And what does most young boys like? Females. So everyone knew whenever I used to have a party, everybody want to come. So I made a bet with my cousin that I told you about, my best friend. I was like, I bet you I can build a company with $1. He made fun of me. He was like, it's impossible. And the thing about me, RJ, the more you challenge me, the more, drive I get within. So I started having my parties. I told the guys, you cannot come in. Ladies free, gents pay $5. And at that time, it looked like it was good money. So I was making the money. And then I started figuring out we need to spread this out. So we started going out to different neighborhoods, letting them know Unisa's having a party. We started putting flyers up. And I still did not spend my $1, RJ. I was just reinvesting what I was making, but taking my benefit, of it.
Mhm.
So I was seeing revenue, but as time went on, we figured, you know what? It's time to start going to the clubs. You know what? It's time to make because Wu Tang, which is one of the biggest, rap group now in
Right.
America,
Yep.
well, just coming out. So I said, I need to have my own record label. So Black Line Entertainment came in. And investing in that studio at that point, I'd already won the bet anyway because I was already making over 15,000, you know,
On
whatever
zero
have you.
dollars,
So
let's on $0. Let's go there.
precisely, yeah. So I said, you know what, we need to invest in a, in a label. I had all these friends that were, all of them was in the music industry. Why don't I utilize them to benefit me and benefit them? What way can you work with someone? Nobody wants to work with you if you have nothing to offer. No
True.
one will work with you. But if they know if they work with you, they have a lot to gain. they will come.
Mm,
The only thing I can always advise is that your word represents you. You are your word. If you say something, you have to always stand by it. And if your word is no good, believe you me, you will not get far. It's like arrogance. You have to always keep your word. So that's how my company Black Line came about. So that's how I kind of figure, wow, this is the life. You don't need to work for no one. The time
mhm,
you invest working for somebody, you can invest that time onto yourself.
mhm. And so I hope people take that message away too, because you know what, you can start a business with just an idea, which is exactly what you did.
That's all it takes. That's
Yeah,
all it
and then
takes.
so, but you walked away from that again too. I will say you walked away from your other life because you had issues,
Correct.
and then you walked away from this life much for the same reason, right?
Correct. I
What
was
happened
seeing
there?
I was seeing things I did not want to see. Basically, I knew, it would bring me a havoc, a headache, and I wanted to avoid. So, being that I wanted in this community, you go there, you see roaches and the building, the flats, the high rises, you see rats, you see kids coming from school, maybe they'll get killed and within a crossfire with the police and I don't want to call them thug, but with the people out there doing what they're not supposed to do. But again, I don't judge nobody because I look at it as you adjust to your environment. But if you learn to take the box out, they said think out the box. We put ourselves in the box, RJ.
Yeah,
I never believe that I'm in a box. I don't tell myself think out the box. I want to see 360, 380. You know what? Be honest with you, I don't want to see 360, 380. I want to see 400.
yeah,
So with that said, yeah, so I kind of figure, you know what? Let's start buying properties because we go to the auctions, you buy these properties. We go to the flat apartments in New York, and we used to have, we used to rent the basement, and we used to have these meetings. And I used to always tell them, and I used to always prioritize who has the younger kids who will try to get you out of here. The money because it was difficult for them to get, you know, um, houses because of their credit and because of their financial well-being. So what I used to do was we don't need to do the credit check. You don't need to put down a large amount of down payment. Only thing I want you to do, nurture your child to be able to support you because you don't want to bury your child. The child should bury, the parents. You don't want to be supporting your child at the age of 40. Your child should be supporting you.
sure.
So I always give my little lectures. And when you get into one of our properties, instead of you doing anything else, all we ask is the money, the rent that you paying these people, you pay to us. That's it. So that's how my second business came about.
Nice. And again, it's catering to people, it's catering to a need, it's catering to help them become better, right?
Precisely.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And then so that leads us into the next part, which is you eventually start giving back not just to, homes and helping people, but I mean, you've seen a lot in your life. You wanted to help others grow up, and so you became a youth leader, it sounds like.
Well, I was not a youth leader. I kind of walked away from that when I met a young lady here in the UK. She went to America and from family friends they did the introduction and she got pregnant. Being a father from a distance is something that, I did not want because I know my father was a hands-on man. So I've always wanted to be hands-on. But due to the fact that her family owned businesses in the UK and she needed to support, so she would come to America for about 6 months, and then I would come to the UK for about 3, 4 months, and so back and forth. But when she got pregnant, she did not tell me right away. And when I found out, it was only right that I made the transition move here to the UK. So when I came, it was a bit difficult. I put myself to school again because one thing, regardless if you don't have a penny, regardless you have £1 million, that can go. But if you gain the knowledge, the understanding, you have the education, no one can ever take that from you. So I put myself back to school. And, when I came out of there, I had a job as, a deputy manager for the learning disability, and I enjoyed it. And along the path, I started working for a Jewish organization. I wanted to do motivational speaking. I just needed to do something. Just sitting down is something that I have an illness, RJ. It's called boredom. I cannot sit down too long. Like my mind start pondering.
Hmm.
And every day I get up, RJ, I always have to intrigue myself. I ask my mind questions. I have to be active. And the only way you can move forward is asking the mind questions. You know about you know, the subconscious, the conscious, and the preconscious. I utilize them. The ego, the ego, the super ego, and the id, I utilize them. I put self awareness into me before I can support anyone else in their journey. So once I can grasp that, I'm able to move forward. So I did all that. But when I was one day I was about to go on stage, they were miking me up, telling me, well, you're on at on 3 minutes, 2 minutes, Unisa. As soon as I was about to go on stage, someone called me, and I did not want to pick up the phone, but seeing that it's from America, I picked up. They say your son just got shot.
Wow.
Yeah. Imagine you're about to go in front of these people to tell them everything is okay, the world is goody goodies,
Hmm.
and you get a call saying someone you love has just been taken away from you.
Not just someone you love, the most important person, I think, right?
Precisely. So I got into my car. It's like I don't know how I walked away from that hole, but I think I still kept their mic that day.
Hmm.
I, I just could not comprehend, did not know what was going on. I just wanted to go away. And that is why when they say when you're on the road as a driver, you don't worry about you. Always worry about the next driver, what they're going through, what kind
Hmm.
of drugs they're on, what kind of influence, you never know. So me being in that vehicle that day, RJ, I'm so grateful for the support I have. All I know was I was driving. Did I know where I was going?
Right.
No. Did I know what I was thinking? No. Did I? If you ask me right now, what color? Because I'm quite visual, I can look at you, I'll analyze you, and come back to me a week later and say, what did that person have on? I'll tell you from head to toe. If you ask me what was the color of the vehicle in front of you, behind you, on the side of you, I don't know. All
Mm.
I know was I needed to go. Where am I
Right.
going? I don't know.
Wow. And that's traumatic, right? And many people couldn't get over something like that.
It's quite difficult.
But I mean, we have to go on, right? And you found a way to go on. How did you get over that? How did you give back? How did you move forward?
Again, just as when my girl was killed in America and she had always wanted me to leave the game, I kind of figured I needed to do something. So when my son got taken away, and he's the type, RJ, I put so many pictures of him. When he smiled, believe you me, his smile will resonate in within you.
Mm.
He's the type when he get in the midst of people, the support he renders, you would not believe he's that of age. You
Mm.
understand?
Mhm. Yeah.
And he's just quite supportive, and he's always out trying to support each other. Other youths, other people. He don't care the color of your skin, the age, your size, whatever. If he sees you in need of support, he would render himself to you. So that's how Kamara Youths came about. It was a dedication to him,
And
helping other youths from going to jail, because I figured when a youth get killed, that family loses. When that youth goes to jail, a family loses. So either you death or jail, both family loses, and these youths don't realize what they're actually doing to their family, to their loved ones.
right.
So that's why we try to make them visualize what it is that they're doing to their loved ones, not just to themselves.
Right. And so you work with these youths in prison is what you're working with, right?
Audrey, the funny thing is, there's a saying, I'm not afraid. You understand?
Yeah.
I feel as though the journey that I'm on, I never know when our creator is going to bring it to an end. But while I'm here, fear fear is something we created within. I'm not afraid to go anywhere. And when we launched Kamara Youth, we launched it in housing, Kilburn. I don't know if you know
Okay.
about Kilburn, but it's not good according to the media. So I got the mayor of Kilburn to come along this journey with me, you know, and let's make a difference. So we launched it there in Kilburn, and I reach out to prisons. Now we're in Southeast, and it's just a wonderful thing, Archer, when you see someone who's out there holding a knife. We made a lot of videos, literally the machetes this big in their pants, and me, Archer, call me a coward. I rather get shot than get stabbed. When I see a machete that big, I'm like, whoa, that's gonna be painful if I don't die.
Sure. Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
threatening. It's threatening, absolutely.
it is. So with me, when I see them, I tell them, first of all, whatever you think you're going through, I've been through it. You understand? But I'm not here to judge you. I do understand what you're going through. But guess what you are? You're an entrepreneur. But your your skills, you can use those skills, utilize those skills where you don't have to worry about the police, where you don't have to worry about other people trying to come and hurt you or your family, or you don't have to be paying money that you're supposed to be using to the lawyers and solicitors.
Mhm.
We can give you the remedy, the strategies that you need to utilize your skills in a more professional manner.
So do you get a lot of youths willing to take that journey, to take that step?
Some, but I'm quite persistent, RJ. Once you
Mhm.
come into my realm, it's not easy for you to walk out because I'm the type, I'll pick up the phone, I'll give you a call. I will come around and drive and talk. Listen, talk to me. What's going on? But one thing I don't tolerate is bullying. One thing I don't tolerate, as my father said, when you swear too much, you curse because you don't have that proper
Vocabulary, the way of,
vocabulary.
yeah.
Precisely. So when you come into our environment, you leave it out the door. And when you come into our environment, you don't have to worry about pulling out money to buy food. It's our job to buy the food for everyone so we can all eat together.
Mhm.
Because there are some people that come don't have the money to buy their own meal. So why have somebody feel bad because they cannot afford to eat? And while you are sitting there looking, you have you eating and you have my mouth watery with all this, saliva hanging down my chin. So no, the best way to build a bond, as my father, as my parents always say, is by us eating together.
Mhm.
And when we eat together, we can build together and we can
Mhm.
build a relationship.
Breaking bread, that's the term they use, right? Break bread with
Indeed.
people, it builds a better relationship. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've done your share of helping our youth and giving back. What can we do as a parting thought? What can we do to help our men and boys, young men, grow up better, stronger men?
RJ, well, I go to different organizations and I was dealing with an organization here in the UK called Black Fathers UK. One thing I want us men to understand is nothing wrong with us bonding. We don't always have to come together to talk about football. We can come together and build together how we can support each other to establish businesses. We can come together and strategize how to become better parents. We can come together and support each other on to stop using drugs, alcohol. Men, I know it's quite stereotypical, but man is supposed to be the leader. But they always say behind a strong man is a strong woman. But we have to take charge as men and know the direction we need to go to provide and protect for our family. If we don't build that strong, you know, unity, how can our children be that strong? When you have a strong role model to support you, there's nothing that is impossible. And I always say, if you say it's impossible, no, there's no such thing as impossible. It's, if you take the I am, it's I am possible. So
Mhm.
men, RJ, I know they have some very strong women out there. My mother was working while my father was in, school, supporting. You understand? And when he was done, he was working, and while my mother was going to school, it's one hand washes the other. We have some beautiful women out there. We have some beautiful, strong men out there. We need to know ourselves and know our capabilities. There's nothing that we cannot do together. And that is why, RJ, I put myself out there. I don't mind traveling anywhere to meet with men, but we have created an organization, called Fit for Purpose, where we can strategize, forward thinkers, we can strategize and find solutions because we don't think there's a problem. We create the problems because if there's a problem, don't think of the problem, think of a solution. And I believe many of us are capable of it, but we're not utilizing ourselves in that aspect.
Absolutely. Thank you. That is powerful advice. Unisa, it's not easy to talk about. Not everyone's willing to share their personal life stories, their experience, and their struggles. So thank you, especially surviving some of the things you've dealt with in your life. I do appreciate your courage and your willingness to help other men and share your life struggles and challenges.
I appreciate you having me, RJ.
Thank you, Unisa Kamara, for joining and sharing your life journey with us today. That's the perfect example of open up. Thank you for joining and sharing your life journey with us today. When people like yourself come forward and share their life experiences on platforms like ours, especially on social media, it will give hope to someone out there to change their mindset and change their life in a positive direction. That's our goal here in Voice of Men 360. We want to bring individuals and allow them to share their life journey and have an open conversation about men's problems and challenges. That's what Open Up is all about. And we want to be able to help them here. I have a few announcements. We have 4 live weekly shows. This is Open Up. You've just enjoyed today. And we are a live talk show every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Vili, which is a Tamil live talk show. Takes place twice a week, Wednesday evenings at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for those who live outside of Canada. Vili is a Tamil show, and again, that means I. We have a weekly webinar that is on Saturday mornings from 10:30 to 11 Eastern Standard Time. And we also host a monthly panel discussion, both in English and Tamil. So we host that twice a month. And then we turn our programming here into podcast episodes, and we invite you to participate. Please share your life journey with us. We've also recently started a monthly men's group. That'll run the third Sunday of every month, including today, and that's 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So our show today is oh, I don't have the title of today's topic, but we do have a men's group tonight, February 21st, and that's our monthly men's group. And then we have another panel on March 6th where we're going to celebrate Women's Day. We're going to celebrate Women's Day. So that is us. Thank you for joining us here today. Again, we are Open Up. I am host here, and um, thank you for joining. Oh, sorry. I need to tell you who you are and how to get in touch with us. We want you to participate in our shows. We want you to work with us and our community, whether you're a business or a professional or organization out there, government who wants to give back and help support us. Please reach out to us. Our phone number is 437 889 8329. Our email address is info@voiceofmen360.org, and you can visit our website at voiceofmen360.org. You can find us on all social media platforms. Again, we are Voice of Men 360. You can find us on Facebook groups /voiceofmen360.org, as well as Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more information and more videos. Once again, I am RJ Horner. Thank you for joining me today on Open Up. Until next time, better days ahead.